episode 27. Yep.
What's up, everybody? Tidus here, Tidus Shot here, with another episode of Tidus Talk Podcast, episode 27, featuring special guest SpartanLeonidus. How you doing, Spartan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, of course. Who is that you have there with you?
This is Mr. Biggie Snores and Bob, stream mascot. He's just extra squishy plushy, so I thought I'd bring him out. And I know you like some Pokemon as well, so.
No, I'll never complain about Pokemon. Actually, speaking of Snorlax, have you seen the gold Snorlax card coming out in the next set?
I haven't. Actually, watching you and others is kind of my main part of the cards, because I don't really do them at all.
Right. I just thought I'd bring it because he's getting a shiny gold card in the next set, and it looks amazing. But
that's so awesome.
Anyway, we'll get sidetracked later. For those joining us for the first time, this is Tidus Talk, a podcast series where I go and I interview other content creators, whether it be from Twitch or YouTube or whatnot. We get to know them a little better, learn about their journeys on Twitch, go into a topic of their choosing, and then we also go into some gaming news that's happened over the last month since the last podcast. So I usually like to start this by how I was introduced to you. Now I'm trying to remember specifically. I think it was just through chat, honestly. Like, initially, it was just through probably HGG, Sugar Mama, and all of them just, seeing your name always pop up in chat, and then finally learning that you stream, and then get introduced to you there.
I think that's exactly right. Yeah, between Sugar Mama, McNasty, Hyrule Gaming Group, we definitely were seeing each other over and over, and then, eventually connected, so good stuff.
Yes, and then also like to talk about what I like about your channel. So you talk a lot, like HGG, about positivity. So staying positive, very important. You always like to keep things light, but you're not afraid to get serious if it comes up. And then you just play what you like. You don't necessarily stick to one certain thing. And it's just it's nice to see. Instead of people forcing themselves to play like one thing. I'm this streamer. It's like, no, I'll play what I want.
Yeah, that's a thing I see a lot of folks talk about on Twitch, that there's a little bit of a lament. Maybe they played Fortnite for 2 years, built a huge community, and then switched to Destiny, and all of a sudden it's like the audience is either gone or massively diminished, and it's a real challenge for folks. And that was something I always noticed on Twitch before I started streaming, because I've been a gamer my whole life. So I watched Twitch the last couple years of my degree program at university. I was kind of a late bloomer there. I was wrapping it up, and I decided I was going to start streaming my junior year. And I did like 2 test streams in my senior year. I did like 2 more streams. And then finally, when I graduated, is when I kicked off my full-time schedule. And I've been at it just about 3 years now since. And I love that part about being able to talk about positivity, but not shying away from some in-depth topics in reality. As a naval nerd and history and science nerd, like, history brings up a lot of politics and stuff just because it's history, and a lot of things that happen have a political aspect to them that you really can't ignore. So, a big part of my thing is the good vibes, right? And I use that phrase specifically. And for me, what that means is it's not just the good stuff in life. It's not just the positive things in our life. It's all of our life. It encompasses the whole. And, how we deal with the challenges and the difficulties we face, taken into that good vibes mentality, that's a part of our existence. Maybe it's medical, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's a historical something that happened. But we have to move forward with that. And I like to be able to try to do that with some positivity. It's not just the glass is always full kind of a blind mindset. It's a encompassing all of us, all of our history, all of our history exposures, our culture, etc. That's what makes us this whole, and use that whole to move forward with that good vibes with. So I'm glad you appreciate that. I can't play just one game.
No, I can't either. That's
crazy. So
I'm changing games like every other week, so I get it. All right, so you've already done a little bit. For anybody who doesn't know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, definitely, yeah. I'm SpartanLeonidus, and I play games, a variety of games. I even do some Lego and Kobe brick builds. I'm just your general jovial nerd here. I love playing games. I've been doing it my whole life. It's been a part of myself. I've been a PC gamer heavy, but I've always had a console or two on the side. I never had an Xbox, but I was mostly Nintendo, PlayStation guy all the time.
Same here.
Yeah, and it was in my college years. A friend of mine told me about Twitch. I think it was like a year after it went from Justin TV, I guess, and I created an account and kind of checked it out, but didn't really click with anybody. It was like the first couple times you go to the main page, you're like, all right, cool, but until you start following people that you've found some interaction or some good vibe with, you probably aren't coming back. So for me, that's what it was, and over the next year, I ended up finding some really cool streamers out there and coming back to Twitch consistently. Once you do that, that's when you start getting raids, and raids introduce you to new cool people that you like, and then it's just that natural progression. So yeah, and then we met through that kind of progression. Actually.
Right. All right, so before we move on, we take this opportunity to let any of the people watching here live on Twitch, if you want a free sub to SpartanLeonidus as a thank you for joining us, ! raffle in the chat. We'll get you that opportunity. We'll do that at the end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the questions. So you kind of already answered this one. How long you've been gaming? You said your whole life. So what did you start with then?
Some of my early gaming experiences, I remember like the first arcade machines that started showing up into grocery stores and gas stations and stuff like that. We're talking, for me, it was like Space Invaders and later Pac-Man, Defender, Battle Zone, and then actual arcades came about, and that was like this nirvana for me. Like, although I was a little kid, I had no money, so it was like begging for quarters. I was the little quarter gypsy, like, come on, please, give me a quarter, please. I'll be at the front of the store. I'll be standing right by the machine. You won't have to worry about me disappearing. I'm right there.
This machine is my babysitter.
That's right. I'll be here entertaining myself. You can do the chore thing you're there to do. And it was funny, actually. One time at the Albuquerque, New Mexico Piggly Wiggly, with my mom, we had to do a big old load of shopping, and there was a Miss Pac-Man machine at the front of the store, and there was nobody there when we walked in, and so I walked over to it, and I looked down. I didn't have any quarters, but just the kid in me. I looked down and it said it had 99 credits on it. So apparently,
Oof.
I guess the person who took the coins out hit the trigger thing. And maxed it out, and so I told my mom, I was like, I'm gonna be here the whole time, and she went and shopped for, I don't know, like an hour maybe, and I was sitting there playing Miss Pac-Man still. And at that point, for over that hour, kids had shown up and put quarter on the glass, and be like, I got next game. I'll be like, I'll give you 2 games for that quarter. They're like, what? And I go, I got credits on here. So then I just give them a 2-player game and take the quarter. So I ended up making like $5.
Wow.
And I had a big old fat blister on my hand. And we lived pretty close to that place. So my mom was checking out with this huge shopping cart full of food for our whole family. And I was like, hey, I'll walk home. It's good. I'm going to keep playing. There was some free credits on the machine. She was like, whatever. Okay, be safe. Get home before dark, that standard stuff. And it was just so funny.
Wow, you little entrepreneur, you. I don't think I ever would have thought to be like, you know what? 1 quarter, I'll give you 2 games. Go for it. It's like, wow.
I don't.
Jackpot.
Like 30, my hand was already like red. It wasn't quite blistered up yet, but it was like, I wasn't gonna be able to get through 99 games.
Right.
Like, it was gonna take hours and hours and hours.
No, it's like super smart. All right. What are some of your favorite games and genres of games?
Well, I really do like simulator games. I like real-time strategy. I love role-playing games. Probably role-playing games are one of the bigger genres. Currently, I've been playing a couple of free-to-play games I really enjoy. World of Warships, which is made by the wargaming company that made World of Tanks, if you're familiar with those. It takes historical, actual ships that were around World War I, World War II era, and even some that were just blueprints that never actually got made, and put them in the game, and you have a 12 versus 12 battle. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. Something I can hop in and hop out, play a couple matches, and take off. Recently, I've been playing a first-person shooter, Escape from Tarkov. Previously, I had done like PUBG, and then going further back, like Battlefield 1942, Call of Duties, both 1 and 2. But we kind of stopped with Call of Duties and Battlefields because they were just kind of cranking them out.
Yeah.
And they got these really shrunk down little micro rush ADS matches, which was kind of the antithesis to my kind of enjoyed play style. So, I like the older stuff where you had these longer, bigger fields, the ability to use a rifle and actually need to shoot somebody, etc. Maybe at a distance or something. Not that I'm like a sniper, but the really tiny micro maps never really held me. So really all over the board. I do love my Switch. I picked up Animal Crossing last March when I got announced to go work from home, and I was like, well, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and play this. I've been watching Hillian Descent, Hyrule Gaming Group, play it for over a year at that point, and was totally digging it, playing the older ones, and the new one had just come out. So I picked that up, but on my Switch, I've already been doing like Breath of the Wild and Pokemon Shield. Just recently picked up the DLC. So I guess I'm really scattered. I'm excited for the new Elite Dangerous. It's a space combat simulator. It emulates the Milky Way galaxy and procedurally generates all the billions of stars within it. And it's actually tries to be a scientifically, astronomically accurate game as much as possible while still being a game. And it's I use my HOTAS, hand-on throttle and stick, to play that. And I've got like a voice assistant, a voice attack program that I use. It does key commands for me and stuff. Like, it's really cool if you like science, if you like astronomy. It's actually really cool because you could go fly out to Cygnus and go orbit some of the planets and stuff. Like, you can fly to Sol, our solar system. You can fly around Earth, and you could see Voyager 2s out there. So, I mean, there's a connection to our reality in that game, which makes it really cool. And there's a new expansion coming out soon called Odyssey, and it's
why is everything Odyssey nowadays?
right. Well, it's this adventure, this long journey, this arduous, yeah, I get it. But yeah, I did chuckle too, because I'm actually still playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've got the strong Greek woman kicking people off cliffs, Cassandra, playthrough going, which is just awesome. She's the ass.
Did you? So, with how you were talking about that, did you ever play No Man's Sky? You did, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I still play it. Yep, I don't stream it nearly as much, and I haven't played it much in the last month. There's been so many new games, but new games I've been playing a little bit of Crusader Kings 3, which is a cool like grand strategy game set in the 1400s, and then Nioh 2, which is kind of like a Souls-like game. I use my controller for that. And I really enjoy the Nioh series more than the Souls series. I played Dark Souls 1 solo without really any guides or anything, and really struggled. It was like, I don't like the kind of repetitious aspect of having to go back over and over and fight not just the boss, but to fight these 12 individual little low-level baddies to get to the boss fight to then get dominated. I'm like,
Yeah.
In Nioh, it does a little bit better with this, I call it map segmentation. So once you get to the boss, you could refight the boss over and over without having to run through those 12 individual fights. So I appreciate that part. It lets you focus on just the boss piece. So subtle changes and like that, but it's a Souls-like, definitely tip of the hat to the Dark Souls stuff there for that game.
All right. What are, obviously besides the Piggly Wiggly, what are some of your fondest gaming memories?
Well, I really adore still one of the first games I ever played on an actual computer was a Broderbund strategy game called The Ancient Art of War. Surprise. And it was basically like a rock, paper, scissors, barbarians beats warrior, warrior beats archer, kind of thing. And then you'd have your battles, different formations, different AI generals, and difficulty levels. And it was really basic pixel stuff, right? But man, back in the day, that was the only thing out there. So it was pretty awesome stuff. That went to Ancient Art of War at Sea, and then down the line through as computers got better, as games got better. I just continued on. There was like no stopping it. And at some point, I realized that my gaming hobby could be a career also. And so the reason I say that is because, back before the internet, back before your Best Buys everywhere or your Geek Squad, you had to fix your shit yourself. There was no forums to go look it up. There was no YouTube video to tell you how to do it. Like, it was crazy difficult. You had jumpers on your sound card. Like it was just a different world back then. But man, it made it so fun to see that progression and grow up with it and live through it as hardware's gotten better, as we've gotten faster and faster hard drives and hard drive interfaces and RAM, and just I love it. I love it all. And it's just like a great way to see our progression in this way. And if you think about like global industries, like gaming is now mega. Like, it might dwarf a lot of industries if you add in all gaming.
Oh yeah.
Whew.
Like, you could say that about any one of the big three, but then you put them together as a whole and then add like phone games and everything all together, it's massive.
Man, exactly. Because man, we love to play our games, right? I mean, there's just so much fun out there.
We do indeed. So what? We already talked about the Elite Dangerous. What are there any other games that you're looking forward to coming up soon?
Let's see. That's a paid expansion for Elite that I'm looking forward to. I want to see Pokemon Snap. I originally saw Pokemon Snap, the OG, on Pandaberry streams, one of the community members and HGG stream team members. She's super awesome. I was like, she was in a canoe, floating down a river, taking a picture of a Snorlax. And I was just like, what is this game? This is amazing. I have my own canoe. I love floating. That's a big part of my, like, floating and camping and stuff's part of my outside part. As much as I love games, the good vibes means I got to have some balance, And so I do like to do other stuff, and camping and floating down rivers and stuff like that is a big part of that. I really dig it. And then, there's some beer involved. We're having a good time. It's a party. So,
So possibly Snap 2 then?
Snap is looking good to me. I'm tempted by it. I did just recently pick up the Pokemon Shield DLC, so that's not necessarily new to everyone else, but it's like 3 weeks new to me. And I am really enjoying it. I feel like it totally invigorated the core game. I struggled quite a bit with the core game. I really enjoyed it. I had unfortunately gotten a little bit poison welled by all the online content, people raging and stuff.
Yeah.
The part that let get to me was the fact that I couldn't rotate the camera most of the time. And I had been playing so much Fire Emblem Three Houses prior to that, where you can rotate the camera while you have your conversations with people. Like, it was everywhere. And so I was just like, I kept doing this with my thumb, going like, So once I got the DLC, it's like the whole DLC pretty much is in a camera rotatable area, and I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, both of them are basically just giant wild areas.
Exactly. So that has made it like so much less distracting, essentially. And I'm really enjoying it still.
That's good. You talked a little bit about this. What games are you currently playing on stream and then also off stream?
Yeah, just the last couple of days I've streamed World of Warships and some Pokemon Shield and stuff.
Breath of the Wild last night, right?
Breath of the Wild last night, yeah. I was getting an itch to get back into some Zelda again, and it was really, really nice. Prior to that, I'd done quite a bit of Pumpkin Days, which is an indie dev game released at the beginning of last month, and I really enjoy it. I actually kind of never really did Stardew Valley or Story of Mineral Town and all that stuff, Friends of Mineral Town. The kind of farming, mining, dating sim thing. I never really did that, but playing Pumpkin Days after watching Pumpkin Days stream it on her channel, she does Momo streams, twitch.tv/Pumpkin Days. Like, that was her dev stuff, and she would do a lot of different stuff. So I really got to enjoy watching her develop that and wanted to actually play the game once it went live. And so I spent a good bit of time on that, and I'm still going back to that on the side.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Pumpkin Days. the streamer and the game.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So how did you go about choosing your Twitch name? There you go, Jasim.
Just here we go. Well, I said before I borrowed it. I guess actually it's an homage to a well-known historical figure, maybe partially well-known, SpartanLeonidus, and now Leonidas has an AS in the name. So basically a short story about that prior, because I wanted to have a name that was similar to this badass dude, but didn't want to actually use the exact spelling. I changed it, made it Leonidus with the U, and so that it became slightly my own.
Well, everybody on Twitch knows you as Spartan, so it worked out, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends say Spartan or Leo or whatever, right? So yeah, it's like whichever part of the name people are comfortable with, because it's kind of a mouthful.
All right, so what drew you to streaming?
Well, for me, the big part of streaming draw was the option to have a space where you get creative space, have like a TV show, but like a TV show that's never existed before. You get to actually have your studio audience right there typing in chat the whole time and asking questions and making comments, and I absolutely love that. I was like, what? I could do this from my own home? What? I've got the computer, I've got the webcam, I've got the mic, I'm already playing these games. Why not?
You just gotta press the on button.
That's it. I mean, yeah, that's the the short side, right? We know the production side's a little bit more than that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I wanted to learn how to do all this stuff. I wanted to be able to have a space where I can hang out in my own studio and, you know, stream as long as I want and then turn the lights off and go and that invite everyone in the whole world. This couch is as big as every human in the whole world and all the pets that want to come with them. And they can all sit down and have a good time here. I mean, not everybody's going to enjoy my content. Not everybody's going to enjoy my humor, the games I play, my looks maybe even. I mean, it's fine. I get it. I'm not for everybody. And it's the folks that enjoy themselves and have fun interacting with us, joking around. You know, that's what it's all about. And that's why folks come back. And that's why I come back to channels over and over as well.
What do you like best about it, and are there any things you don't like about it?
Wow, what do I like best about it? I mean, I just love it. The actual act of going live and hanging out and playing a game and chatting with folks and having folks come up and new folks that have been around since the beginning, the inside jokes. Like, I just love it. The community kind of thing. You know, a lot of folks talk about their community, and that's really the coolest part. And there's so much overlap between the communities. There's a lot of folks that have that like mind and like thoughts, I guess, about things. Kind of tend to gravitate to similar types of folks. So yeah, I don't know. I love it.
What about dislike?
I'm sorry?
What about dislike? Is there anything that...
Dislike? That I have a career job that takes me away from streaming more, technically. I like that.
So the negative is that you like it too much.
Well, that's it. You know, the negative, I guess, would be I would love to spend more time on production. I would love to, like, get some of these ideas in my head actually out onto the stream for you all, but it's just like, you know, between work and streaming and the production side, then there's still all the outside of work, doing stuff around the house, and cooking and cleaning and all that, you know, family, friends, significant others. Like, it's a challenge. So I guess the other dislike I would say, negative, is I feel like some folks get, I guess, maybe too upset too easy. I don't know. I I'm a pretty laid back guy, so I don't take stuff too hard. But I'm also the kind of guy that's like, well, that's what you use the tools of the platform for. So you time somebody out, you can ban somebody, etc. Whatever level of moderation you feel you need to do, you have those tools available now. One of the things I would say, I guess the dislike for me is the abuse I see of others, more so through Twitter, talking about Twitch problems, problem people, abuser types that are coming in. This is way beyond just trolling, because you can troll your friends. That can be okay, but you start taking trolling into abuse, and it's just unacceptable. And I see it's prolific, and I feel like you got your people of color right now. Recently, the Asian American communities challenges with racism, etc. All these things, and I see massive amounts of sexism. It's just insane. So misogyny mostly. So it's like, I hope these people can learn to not thrive off abusing others, because as a species, we're gonna need to have more people that don't want to abuse people. If more and more people are going to be able to have more opportunities to have a good life without having to be abused, I mean, that's
well said. Cool. So you said you've been streaming about 3 years or so?
Yeah, 3 years at this current schedule. I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Central. I'm looking to probably change my schedule at the end of the month, but it's been about 3 years on that same exact schedule.
Wow.
When I was kind of picking it, I had to take into account work-life balance, family, friends, significant others, outside of work, etc. Because I was like, I don't want to be the guy that's got to change his schedule every week. I want to pick something. I want to make it like as much like a TV or a radio show with a time slot as possible, where
tune in next time.
It's 8 p.m., same bad time, same bad channel. That's right. So,
all right. So who are some of your favorite streamers to watch? I probably know most of them.
Definitely high up on the list, Hyrule Gaming Group. I'm there as much as humanly possible. I love that he introduced a night stream. My work's been so busy that I'm not able to. I could pop in at lunch like once or twice a week now. It's unfortunate for me that he starts streaming before I wake up, and usually with his old schedule, he was wrapping up right when I was getting off work, pretty much. So I was like, so I wasn't able to hang out nearly as much in the recent. But when he changed his schedule to that split day and morning and night, that's perfect. So I can hop back in after work now and chill and enjoy. Recently I've branched out into some other streamers like Shiny Wave and Spacey
Invader. Yeah.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying their communities, and from them I've connected with like Captain TV and Risa Love. But then I go back to my other connections outside of that kind of bubble with Puff and Watch and Cat Power. Like, that's another whole, like, another kind of bubble. They don't really overlap as much. They're not into the Nintendo community, the Animal Crossing community as much. They both play those games, but yeah, it's weird, right? Everybody's got their different bubbles. So I really enjoy them, and since I become a member of the Hyrule Gaming Group stream team, I have been spending more and more of my time in any one of the live Hyrule Gaming Group folks channels. If they're live, I'll go there instead of my followers list. And so I've been doing that pretty heavily for the last several months, and really getting to know the other folks there and really enjoying them, because I mean, we both mentioned Hyrule Gaming Group's channel is kind of a beacon for that positivity and awesome fun gaming, and that's why he created the Hyrule Gaming Group stream team, and everybody that's on there is like handpicked to be of that same bent, and I love it. So it makes it easy for me to know, hey, I could go to any one of these people's channels here, and I'm gonna enjoy myself, and get exposed to different people in different games. And so yeah, I love it.
What kind of goals or aspirations do you have for your channel, if you have any?
Well, my goal currently is to continue with my good vibes aspects. I know there's folks out there like Heart Support and other folks that actively go out and try and help support folks in that manner. I'm doing it passively, I guess, in my way by being that positive-minded person that's out here to have fun, and you don't have to take everything so seriously all the time. So yeah, I'm just going to keep doing that, and I think that's working out so far. The goals otherwise, if I continue to work outside professionally in my career at some point, that's like I said in my channel, I got some gray beards here. I'm not super old or anything, but I'm not like 20 anymore, so I could retire in the near future. And if I retire from my career in the near future, I will be spending a lot more time streaming. So that's kind of the goal, just to continue with life and do the stream as I can. It's my hobby and my passion right now. So it's something that I do as an extra for myself. And so the goal really is to just be able to do more in the future, and just to be able, capable, ready, and see where we go.
What is some advice that you'd give to streamers looking to grow their channel, or just in general?
For me, I think a big part was picking consistent schedule. I know I liked having that consistent schedule as far as both the streamer and the viewer. The viewer knows when you're going to be live, and the streamer is able to pick a schedule that they're going to be able to sustain month to month, year to year. That's really what it's all about in my mind. Now, you have to, depending on what your growth trajectory desire is, do you want to make partner in a year, or whatever your goals are, like, I'd say social media is a big part of that. I chose Twitter as my primary for that when I decided to go ahead and get branded SpartanLeonidus and go claim all the names and do all that stuff. Like, I hadn't really used Twitter, but I had seen its unique ability to allow an individual to communicate to, say, a powerful person or a famous person that they would never be able to just meet on the street.
Right.
But they could make a comment on Twitter, and that person interacts with them. It's like, bam! It's like, oh, that's so cool. Or alternatively, someone complaining to a massive corporation about a problem and actually getting some action and traction because their audience is large enough that they're like, oh man, we better hurry up and help this person. It's like, yeah, that's, hopefully you do that for everybody, but I'm a realist. I understand that's not how that works. But, having some visibility in a social media platform and just asking a kind of halfway innocuous question like, hey, I'm having problems, but man, I'd really love some help. It's pretty interesting. And I'd seen people, win graphics cards and computer systems and stuff like that as well. I don't do a whole lot of the tweet retweet on those kind of things,
right?
But I get it, because that's a possibility to win those things, and that's awesome. So social media, I think for me, the other part, if you're trying to grow past affiliate, is find channels you like that are similar to yours, and meaning attitude or the games or whatnot. So for me, it's like, positivity and good vibes folks. And then if we also play similar games, and that really helps. If it's a game I'm interested in, I'm going to be more inclined to kind of hang out while I'm still learning a new channel in the community and the streamer. So having that, finding other communities you like, not just to milk their viewers or whatever, to actually make connections with people.
Right.
We eventually struck up a conversation after seeing each other in multiple streams. Like, that's how that works. That's when it becomes this natural thing, and not the, oh, hey Tidus, I went and saw you had a channel. You want to raid me sometime, or follow for follow? It's like we were just chatting about likes because we were already in these same channels.
Yeah.
With our likes. So.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of follow for follow. It doesn't do anything for anyone.
Yeah, that's almost like a 2000s era thing now. It's like, yeah, that's so old and out of date. Like, yeah.
All right, so you talked a little bit about this earlier. What are some of your interests and hobbies outside of gaming?
Outside of gaming, I'm definitely outdoors kind of person. I ride my mountain bike. I have a KLR 650. It's a dual sport motorcycle. So I motorcycle ride a lot, and previously I had a street bike as well, a concourse. It was kind of a dual sport, but more of a street bike, and then this one's a dual sport, more of a dirt bike. I like my cross functionality, I guess. That's in my motorcycles. But yeah, camping and floating is called, and floating can be kayak, canoes, rafts, whatever you want. Typically for me, floating is a canoe. I love a canoe. Good canoe. You can get 2 people and literally a ton of equipment, gear, water, food, everything floating down rivers. It's pretty kick-ass. I mean, Lewis and Clark, they did all that crazy adventure, including all those portages they had to do and everything. And the funny part was they got sent out there and they were gone so long, everybody just thought they died. And then they showed back up like 2 years later with all this data and all this actual scientific stuff and these maps and all this stuff, and they were like, what? So I guess outdoor stuff. I have a nice group of friends. We do some tabletop role-playing games as well. So in the last 5 years, we've done games in the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay system, both versions 1 and version 4. We've done Cyberpunk 2020 campaign, and then we've also done we dabbled a little bit in Magic the Gathering. We're kind of talking about rolling up characters on the side, kind of doing some character development and stuff on that. And then currently we're in a Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay campaign, Death on the Reich, Power Behind the Thrones, and some other ones. They're pretty well known if you're into the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay stuff. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is like D&D, not the Warhammer like the miniatures game where everybody puts their miniatures on like a big table and has those rules. Same world, same lore, but there's Warhammer, then there's Warhammer 40K, and that's like in the future with spaceships and stuff. So it's the kind of more D&D like variant. So that's always nice to do. I love watching movies, and I recently got a subscription to Crunchyroll, so I've been just barreling through some good content there. There's a ton.
Oh yeah.
I started the first night I got my Crunchyroll subscription. I watched 40 episodes of Attack from Titan.
Oh my lord.
I stayed up for 12 hours. I'd get up, go get coffee, go to the bathroom, go get food, come back. And I just kept watching. And finally I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop there. Because it was like the end of season 2 or so. I don't remember. But it was like, wow. And I don't know if you've seen that show, but I felt like I had a little bit of PTSD after that. Like, I was a little bit shocked and awed by some of that. I was like, what?
I've heard good things, but I haven't seen it myself.
It's amazing, but wow. It's got some brutality in it. You know, these Titans are 10, 15, 20 meters tall, and they're just kind of big, huge giants that would just eat people. So it's kind of
all right then.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore. It's a great story though, the characters and stuff and the world they built, but it's like, wolf. You know, you see him chomping somebody, that's not cool. Let's see what else. So Crunchyroll, I guess, yeah, I've just been going through a bunch of stuff out there.
All right, well, it sounds like you keep yourself busy.
Yeah, I like it, you know, and when I'm not doing games and all that stuff, I like reading books too, but I read less and less over the years. It's just I end up getting distracted with all the other stuff in between, so.
All right, so that takes care of the standard questions. I didn't have a lot in specific, but first you wanted to talk a little bit about, you have your topic we'll talk about later, but this was kind of part in it. You talked about living in balance. So I don't know if you were talking about the importance of living in balance or how you go about living in balance.
Yeah, for me, it's a big part of my kind of ongoing thing is a lot of what I seen as challenges for myself when I was growing up and through in the daily was when I get out. A lot of my challenges that were self-induced, rather, not the external stuff, but the internal stuff. Keeping mentally and emotionally kind of in balance is a big part of what I do as a maintenance thing for myself, because if you get out of whack, everything else gets weird, and it becomes harder. I mean, life's really hard anyway. So staying in balance for me is something I spend time doing. So maybe that's just taking a nap. Maybe that's meditating. Maybe that's just not scheduling anything for the whole weekend or something. Like, we're always going to have options to be busy. That's the key. But, as busy as we are and as fast paced as our society is, you just need to stay in balance. You just gotta find something that works for you to be able to chill and relax and just let your mind go. And it's hard. There's so many stimulus. I know for me, I struggled a lot when I was in high school and in university. Like, study, work all day, go to classes all day, and then study for hours, and then just shut your brain off and go to sleep. Fuck. No, that never happened. I would be awake. My brain would be just jumping around, and I couldn't sleep. So, I had to find a way to get some balance. And then that point in time for me, it was like I couldn't stay up and not be rested. I had to continue day to day and make it. And so for me, a big part of that was some exercise and some meditational type of mental focus. Everybody comes up with what works for them the best, and hopefully you find something or continue to strive for it, because it's only for you. It's going to help you the most. And when you're able to be your truest self in the most non-stressed way possible, then that's when I think the real kind of interactions of life really become you become aware of the importance of them and stuff, and really can just live it and enjoy it. So
all right, so boats, ships, subs, you are a fan. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I call it my naval nerd, and it's NAVAL, although I do like some NAVEL nerds as well. But I'm just saying, like, ships in general, when you talk about military and stuff like that, you talk about history, you talk about military, you talk about politics, those all kind of go together, because when you're talking about a historical situation like a war or a battle, and it's like, what came about to cause that to happen, to bring those troops and those ships and those countries together to have this fight, and so that interconnectivity of all the various aspects of history and politics and military has always been fascinating to me. Ships were an easy focal point, because a lot of times with ships you have when it was built, where it was built, when it went to got commissioned, what country, what it did, where it went, what battles it was in, there's a lot of logs on a ship. So this data is able to be really concrete and really able to know that this is actually what happened in the history. And it's not like some of these historical aspects where you have to try and guess a lot based on the knowledge you have. With naval ships, it's pretty clear. So you can get a really clear historical storyline a lot for a naval vessel, and that naval vessel may have a 30-year lifespan, and of a country, the politics and the reality of the world throughout that 30 years. It's all that stuff. It's just like, that's where my naval nerd comes from, because it ties to history and politics and everything, and I just love it. So that, plus I had several family members that were in the Navy. My grandpa was in World War II on the CL-56 USS Columbia, and he was volunteer, drafted in, went and was a young pup, almost got killed. Gosh, if he'd have died, I wouldn't be here today. So I have that kind of special connection to that ship in particular, even though I've never seen it or been on it. And then I joined the Navy after high school and served a tour on board the USS Augusta, SSN 710. That's actually one of my emotes. I mean, I have a sub emote, not to entice subs, but to celebrate submarines. And it's perfect for Twitch, because then when people sub, I can throw out my sub emote. I love it.
And then you had September.
September, right. And so this last September, I basically took the whole month and I only played submarine games. Now you think that's probably not possible, but yes, it is. There's a bunch of submarine games out there that are quality games. The biggest and most favorite of all of those for me is Subnautica. Oh, I just adore that game. I recommend everybody get it if they like single player experiences. It's up there on the top 10 for me. Single player great experiences and submarines, lots of underwater stuff. And as a guy who used to live in California for high school, and then the Navy and Florida and Connecticut and Maine, and it's like I miss the damn ocean. I've been living in Missouri for 20 plus years now, and I'm like, I mean, I was a scuba diver, so I would go scuba diving, and I haven't really done that at all since I moved back to Missouri. It's just been focused on everything else, But yeah, Subnautica gives you that scuba diving underwater feel so much. I was like, yes, this is so cool.
All right. We'll move on from the questions portions, and then we get to go to your topic, which was moving around. So you mentioned moving around as a kid helped you make friends, which a lot of people I think the opposite is, like, you move around a lot, you don't have a chance to make friends, you're always just kind of like the new kid. And so how you want to talk about that?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's just me looking at the positive aspects of it. But yeah, my family wasn't moving around a lot due to military, but I lived, let's see, like, give you just an idea. The states was like Iowa, and then I was born in Iowa, and then we lived in Nebraska, and then New Mexico, and then Missouri, and then California, and then Missouri, and then Florida, back to California, and then Florida, and then from Florida to Connecticut to Maine, back to Connecticut, and then Missouri. That was all before I was like 20, so 22, I guess. That was, yeah.
Sounds like about once a year.
It was a lot. It was a lot. There was several times where I would go through half a semester at this school and then half a semester in a different state. Like, that happened like 2 or 3 times. Wow. But in that, it just, I got comfortable being myself, maybe. And in that being myself, able to talk to other folks and try and make friends. Like you said, it is a challenge because you did move and you don't know anybody. And it's like, well, you got to at least have fun by yourself. You got to at least like yourself, or else, it's going to be hard for others too as well. And yeah, that aspect, let me see a lot of different parts of the subcultures of America and all the different, the Midwest, the West Coast, the East Coast, the Southwest, the Northeast, like these major regional cultures of parts of our country is pretty fascinating. And there's a lot to be learned from just that minor variance of people's. I was fortunate enough in high school to go on a trip to Europe to a study abroad. I sold my car that I had worked to earn and got a little bit of a loan from my parents and paid it off and all that. I sold that car and went to Europe on this EA tour. EF? Education Frontier? Not EA. Anyways.
I was going to say, you went on an EA Games tour?
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't sound right. But, we flew out of San Francisco, this was my sophomore year of high school, so I was 17. Went to, flew from San Francisco to New York to Heathrow, London. Was in London for a couple of days, took a ferry across, this is all pre-Channel, so we had to take the ferry to France, traveled through France, spent a couple of days in Paris, ended up going through 9 countries over 30 days, and then flying back. And I got all that in high school in my summer year, my sophomore year. That combined with moving around the United States so much at a kind of an early age, pre-18, and also being an avid book reader, loving sci-fi and fantasy, gave me so many comparisonal situations to compare in my head. So you see different people, you see different lifestyles, you see different cultures, you read about different people's lifestyles and cultures. Like, when you're doing those things, you think about those people. It helps you become a more empathetic human, I think, to see more other people doing their thing and being like, we're literally all just doing our thing. We're all the exact same, actually. We're human, breathing humans that have wants, goals, desires, and those don't have to be in conflict. And that's really, I think, a big key to the moving around part. It's like, yeah, it can be tough, but you got to keep that positive balance. But the moving around part, if you have the positive balance, helps you able to see more of what's actually out there, and how, for me, it relates to the very same things that I'm doing as a human on the day to day. Friends, family, work, career, goals, etc. Like, we're all the same. So I love it for that. I guess that's why I like that interactive piece of Twitch, and I try and make a couch as big as the whole world. Come on down. That's what it's all about here. So.
All right. I mean, I'm glad you had such a positive experience. You like you said, you hear stories about negative experiences with people moving around all the time. So it's good to hear, it's not always bad. It's kind of how you take it and how you decide you're going to react to it, as opposed to just being bummed out about it.
That's right. Because we can all only control ourselves. The external influences, those are things you can't control. So it's how I respond to things. And since I can't control others also, then it's, how I respond to things they do, good or bad. And yeah, I think that really, really sheds a light on, I guess, kind of why a big part of my personality, of that positive vibes part, is the combination of all this. Maybe the experiences help me get to that conclusion earlier, because I feel like a lot of folks tend to get, as they get older, more like that. If they're not being told to be intolerant, that they realize more and more that we are all very, very similar, and become more embracing of just the humanity of it all.
All right. So we are moving on to gaming news. So we got a little bit here. Gonna pull up my topics. So speaking of Subnautica, I'll just bring this up then. For those who have a PlayStation, don't even need to have PlayStation Plus. It's free right now. There are 10 games for free under the what's it called? The Play at Home initiative. So last year when COVID started, PlayStation was like, to encourage people to stay at home, here's some free games. So they're doing it again this year with, I think it's 10 games. I want to say they started with the PS4 Ratchet and Clank game, and they just released, I think, 8 others, including some VR games. Subnautica was one of them. And then April 10th, I think, Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition, will be free to everybody, regardless, again, if you have PlayStation Plus or not. You can go log into your account and it's yours.
Huh.
So
now, I have a PlayStation 3. I mean...
You couldn't download it, but if you sign into your PlayStation Network account on the web browser,
claim it,
and go claim it. And then if you ever do get a PS4, PS5, all those games you have accessible at any point.
Cool.
So
that's very cool.
And I definitely recommend that for Horizon at the very least, but there are plenty of good games, great
Horizon
games.
It was on my list of will be playing and streaming in the future, but I pretty much assumed it's going to be on PC, because
it is on PC.
Right. It finally came over to it. I was like, yes.
All right. PS Plus games free this month: Final Fantasy VII Remake and Concrete Genie. Excellent games. I'm going through Concrete Genie right now. Started that last night. And Final Fantasy VII Remake. The only thing to note about that is that there is a free PS5 upgrade for Final Fantasy VII Remake, except for this free version. This free version does not get the free upgrade, but if you've purchased it previously, it does get the free upgrade. So
that's super awesome, because I love Final Fantasy VII. Was one of the only PlayStation games that I had. It's the only Final Fantasy I've ever played. It's on the OG. So when it came out, I was watching people stream. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I was like this close to buying a PS4. I'm like, no. If they sold that game as one game for like $80, Final Fantasy VII, I would have bought a PS4, but they split it up, and I was like, nah, I'm not.
Just give it, 10 years or however long it takes them to get all the parts out, and then you'll be able to.
Yep. That's what Twitch is for me. Console games that are awesome on consoles I don't own. Twitch.
All right. There's been more rumors about the Switch Pro, or I mean, it's not officially called the Switch Pro, but a higher functioning Switch, better OLED screen, better processing for when you've got it docked and things of that nature. I guess the rumors is I think by the end of the year to try to get out by holiday. If that happens, do you care at all?
Oh yeah, I definitely care. I've got the Gen 1 Switch. I know they've come out with a Gen 2. I'm calling it that had a increased efficiency, so it had a longer battery life, same performance specs, but longer battery life. That was super cool. I was like, yes, they're iterating this thing. I personally want any new Switch to have improved Joy-Cons.
I was about to say, no drift. No drift.
I mean, I'm not a tiny guy. I'm 6'1" though, but like, I can't. If they also didn't fail after a short amount of time, that would be really the key. No drift. I could deal with them being small. I bought one of these because my hand's a little bit larger than comfortability level on that. But yeah, no drift. That's that's the biggest thing to me. You can upgrade it, you can make it more powerful, you can make it whatever. I personally would like, if I had one request to make, my eyes aren't getting any younger. Give me a Switch XL, like a little more tablet-y size, with actual full-size controllers like this on the side, not some Joy-Con thing. Like, I think that would be pretty cool, but...
Yeah, I don't think the Joy-Cons are anywhere. I heard the screen size is supposed to... The rumor is that... So you got the black on the sides, and the top, the screen is supposed to basically fill all of that.
Correct. That's what I heard as well, yeah. So it actually does get bigger.
But probably not to the size that you're talking about necessarily. But every little bit helps, I suppose.
I agree. Yeah, my eyesight's not horrible, but there's some games that I played, like Octopath Traveler and stuff. Some of the text was a little bit smaller than like the Pokemon text and Breath of the Wild, and so it was like that was just on the edge of like comfortability for me. So yeah, that little bit would probably do it actually.
So that means if it does come out, you're all like you're gung ho. You think you're just gonna grab it?
Oh well, no. I mean, I live in reality. I don't have an infinite supply of cash. I have a completely functional Switch, so I won't be buying a new Switch for a while. Now, if I was flush, sure, but just to upgrade, the way I use my Switch is in bed, and when I'm streaming or sitting at my computer, it's plugged into the dock. So that's not really going to be able to change much, and the games I already have already play fine. So yeah, I love that they're iterating their product, and if I buy a new one, it would be definitely that one.
Gotcha. All right, Super Nintendo World is officially open in Japan. That's exciting. Less exciting that the one that was supposed to be here was delayed by like 2 years.
At least delayed by 2 years doesn't mean totally shut down.
Yeah, it could have just ended up not happening, but so the fact that we're getting it at all is nice, and it'll be real close to me. That'll be even nicer. And I've heard amazing things. Like IGN actually did a review of the park, and they gave it a 9 out of 10. Just like it's like everything basically you would have dreamed of for like a Mario world. So I'm excited to see where it goes, especially with 2 little girls I can take there when they're older. Mm-hmm. So.
Heck yes, that would be a great day trip or something.
Sanrio Amiibo cards came out yesterday. That was a hot mess.
Yeah, I was looking at Twitter going like, oh man, everybody's running to 5 different targets trying to buy them after they pre-ordered them, and I'm just like, what a hot mess indeed.
For anybody who doesn't know, Sanrio cards are a collaboration between Animal Crossing / Nintendo and the Sanrio characters like Hello Kitty and whatnot. $5.99 gets you a pack of, I think it's 6 cards, 6 characters, and a bunch of items you can get for it. It's the only way you can get it. And for the US anyway, they decided, I think you could do pre-orders in Canada. Like they were able to just pre-order it ahead of time and they were fine. For us, they were like, these are coming out on the 26th, March 26th, only at Target, so one place, at 9 a.m. EST. and you can't go in the store and pick it up. You have to order it online and then pick it up at the store. You couldn't even have it shipped to you. So everybody and their mother was there at 9 a.m. yesterday on Target.com, blasting the Target stores, refreshing and all that. So a lot of people didn't get them. Some people were able, like bots got a bunch, I'm sure. People bought like 10 of them when they could to sell on eBay for $100 a pack. The wife and I both went at 9 o'clock with 2 different accounts to 2 different stores just to make sure we get one. And we got exactly one between the 2 of us. So that's all we need. So we're happy, but not a lot of people weren't as lucky. And it's just a mess.
A deck of cards, like, come on. People, it's not even a deck, like a pack, right? Like,
yeah, it's just like a Pokemon card booster pack is all it is.
That's the wrong multiplier. Times 10 people, come on, produce this stuff. They didn't think it would sell. Like, I don't get it at all. The demand was there. I'm like, come on. Yeah. Maybe it was a production thing. Maybe, they're just going to keep printing them at that pace. But man,
I could only hope so. But if that were the case, I'd like there to be messaging to such as like, if you don't get it in wave 1, there's going to be a ton at wave 1. There's going to be, I think somebody estimated there was about 70 packs per store. It ended up being 133,000 total, even though there's like 31 million people with Animal Crossing. So obviously you're not going to, the numbers don't balance there. But if you tell, okay, release date, there's going to be 100,000, let's say, and we're going to try to spit out another 50,000 every week or every other week, so people don't go paying the scalpers, and that scalpers maybe be like, well, there's no point in getting them because people will just wait until the next week. So
yeah, it's weird. I think it's just easier for companies just to not communicate, unfortunately, but that's how that goes.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's worse in the Pokemon card side, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, and if they say the wrong thing or if they have to change plans, it's like, it's so double-edged sword, and the vitriol and ferocity of internet communities, fans, fervent fans, could be scary, dangerous, illegal level of it sometimes.
Yeah, threats and all that stuff.
Yeah, crazy.
All right, there was the Pokemon Presents thing, so we got a couple of announcements. Some were surprising, some were not. We officially got Diamond and Pearl remakes announced. This is another one where half the community is split because they're glad for the remakes, but they don't like the style necessarily. Some people are fine with it, others are like, why did you not just do it in like 3D full?
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I thought it was cool because they're remaking a classic, right? I didn't play any of the older versions. Let's Go Pokemon Pikachu was my first main line. I did a little bit on the phone with Go, but it's interesting. If you remake it in 3D, it's going to be just like Shield, right? But if you do it in the retro, it's like the retro. So you literally can't please everybody.
Right.
So I think if they're going to remake the retro, do it if it's just a remake and they're just upgrading the graphics but keeping them that style and not adding new content or adding stuff, then yeah, okay, great. I like both ways of looking at it. I am considering buying one of those actually, but we'll see how much more time I spend with Shield DLC,
right,
etc. I ended up finding out about and becoming kind of interested in Temtem, which is a Pokemon-like game.
Right. And
it's quite fun as well, but yeah, it doesn't have 30 years of legacy behind it.
Yeah. I'm in the camp of, I think it looks fine. Like you said, in the same, it's a remake. So you're doing it, you're trying to make it, first of all, it's not Game Freak making it, by the way. It's another company. Game Freak is doing what we're going to be talking about next. So this is a different company that is working with Game Freak to do it. So they're literally they have their template, they've chose the graphical style, and they're going to go with it. Plus, if you've seen the in battle is like the 3D stuff. You've got the full 3D models and everything, and it looks nice. So
that additional piece to the upgrade on that remake part.
Yeah. Right. So I'm interested in if they're going to go beyond, like, let's say they take Diamond, Pearl, and everything, and Platinum, and just kind of roll that into the 2 games. Is there going to be additional content, or is it just going to be the base content? At this point, we don't know.
Yeah, that's it. I'll probably hold off 6 months on that one because that'll let them decide whether or not they're going to announce DLC or not. And that's kind of sometimes, if
Right.
it's, I don't know.
I personally
If they're
don't
not
think there will
groundbreaking
be
anything.
because it's a remake. I think they'll kind of like they'll have their vision and that'll be it, and then the
Gotcha.
DLC will come with our next thing, which is Pokemon Legends Arceus. So that surprised everybody. Nobody
Right.
was expecting that. It looks to be a full-on open-world RPG Pokemon game. You literally had the guy throwing Pokeballs, not going into a battle, but just like boom, throwing the ball. It's what every kid has dreamed of since they picked up Pokemon Red and
They
Blue
want it. Yep.
in 1996 or whenever it was. So when you
super
saw that,
pumped
what
by
did you
that,
think?
too. Yeah, I saw that on Hilly Descent's channel when he did that presentation, and I was like, "Wait, is this a totally new one? Is this like kind of a new format?" Even I was like, "Yeah." So besides being still hyped about the Snap announcement, which just due to funding purposes, I might not buy it day one, but man, I adore Snap, and the new one looks like it's gonna be cool. But that Arceus one, yeah, I probably end up getting that one, and
You got a year to save up.
that's where I'm at with it. Exactly. I could squeeze it into my gaming budget between now and then.
But yeah, and also the fact that you have starters, 3 different starters from 3 different generations, being able to pick from. That's new, and then this is the same. It's the same area. I forget what it is in Diamond and Pearl, which region that is, but it's the same region, but in the past. So this is like
Historical.
your Pokeballs have like steam towers coming out of them, and they're made of wood. So I mean,
Like
like
steampunky kind of older.
this is like
techy
OG.
looking.
Like, hey, this is like the first Pokeball. Probably it's crazy.
Sweet.
So hopefully, and the demo was a little rough, or what they showed was a little rough, and everybody acknowledges that. But we're still a year away, so hopefully they clean it up, and I hope they don't let us down on this. Honestly, I really hope they don't.
Gosh. Yeah, and then that's supposed to be the next full new one after Shield, right? So yeah, I mean they should definitely polish that. Is
Yeah.
there any more Shield DLC announced, or was that
No,
the
there
only
hasn't been
one?
anything announced. At this point, I don't think there will be. I think they're focusing on all the new stuff, and I don't think they'll consider this Arceus a mainline game. Like, it's not Gen 9, so
Oh,
I don't think we'll get like really new Pokemon or anything. Also, because it is in the past. So
right.
my thoughts are this: like, the Game Freak is working on this, and they're looking at something new, and it could be, if it does well enough, Pokemon Legends, X, Pokemon Legend, different Pokemon Legends Mewtwo or something like that could come down the line. It could be a new series, but I mean, that all depends on how it does, how it's received. Because
Right.
they probably, at this point, it's a little hard for them to keep going with generations. They have to come up with like 75 to 100 new Pokemon each time, a completely new region with new characters, and I think besides the fact that people wanted this, they want to go on and do something different, which I applaud as long as they can do it right.
Yeah, I agree. I do like going back to the roots of a game and going back to pre-time of the first game and talking about all that stuff, prequel as it were. I think that's a great idea because it keeps it in the world and it takes it to a spot that's never been, maybe physically been there, but not in that realm, that time period. So
Right.
I think that's a great idea, like you said, and hopefully that execution is good. And if it's a blockbuster, they might be more inclined to do more with it than if it's just a mediocre seller. So,
Right.
I think, like you say, it does matter a lot how well it's received in the community.
Yeah, and I think that one I think has more opportunity for DLC because that game can be right now for us it could be anything. So DLC could be adding, more to the region or
Another new region, maybe.
yeah. So the possibilities are endless there, depending on what they're looking to do themselves.
Yeah, that really is too, because they could make region DLC if they really came into it. Hey, Alto Girl.
Hello, Alto Girl. Welcome, welcome. Exclamation point raffle for anybody who's still here in the chat if you want to get into a raffle to possibly get a sub to Spartan's channel. Just so you guys know. Next article we have on here is Microsoft buying Discord. So I don't recall if I saw this was official or not. I heard some people say it was, but I didn't see it myself.
I think within like a 48-hour period, it was in talks and then done deal, is what I have understood. But I didn't actually read it. myself. It was just kind of inferred from other people saying it was done. I personally don't like what's happened with, I mean, Skype, I guess, still works, is fine. They didn't ruin it, maybe, but it felt like it changed afterwards, and I never really used it heavily, so I don't want to link my Discord with my Microsoft account. I deal with that stuff at work sometimes. Like, I don't want Discord to be sold to Microsoft, but hey, $10 billion is a lot of incentive.
Yeah, they're not going to say no.
I get it.
But yeah, I think it's big for us because a lot of what we do, Discord is a part of. Like, what streamer do you know that doesn't have a Discord or isn't a part of a dozen Discords, 24 Discords?
That's right. But will that stay the same after things change? Because they will change, and that's where I'm really afraid of. It's like, I've subbed to the Nitro like 2 different months, and not continuously, but I'm like, I'll probably sub for that continuously here as I grow my channel a little bit more, as there's more people there. But now I'm already on the fence. I'm like, ugh. I love Discord. I think it is a great tool. I think they've built it up so well. I mean, for years, people were like, let's use Discord. And we were like, dude, Discord voice sucks. We're using Ventrilo, or we're using TeamSpeak. These have some good codecs on them. But man, years, Discord kept getting better and better. And then, you've got that forum aspect with all the channels. Like, it's just a better thing, a better product. You can click to go live. You can click to stream. I love Discord. I'm kind of scared, to be honest with you. I don't hate Microsoft, but they have their priorities at a global level, not at this Discord level, and that makes me wonder what those priorities are going to be.
But yeah, my thoughts are that they're going to try to integrate it into their gaming platform in some way or another.
Yeah, it's going to all be installed on Windows, whether you like it or not. You can't uninstall it.
Right, and they'll probably also try to encourage that by being like, hey, Nitro you can actually have for free if you have Xbox Live or whatever. They're going to try to make it work within the gaming stuff. Hopefully it doesn't go the way of Mixer.
Well, I doubt that it'll go the way of Mixer because it's already out there successful in my mind, or they wouldn't be paying $10 billion for it.
Right.
But I hope it stays the same.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see a lot of change. It'll just be a lot of the integration. But
as long as it's optional, I would love that.
Let's see. We had the Square Enix presentation, which I meant to pull up the article. I'm trying to remember as much as I can from it. There was some news about the Avengers games, the DLC, the Final Fantasy remake, Retrograde. No, this wasn't Retrograde. It was something. They added another title to the end of it for the PS5 version of the game, because that'll be sold separately, and they also have DLC that stars Yuffie that you have to buy separately, even if you get the free upgrade, or it comes with a special edition of the PS5.
Wow, they make that nice and clear.
Oh yes, they're always convoluted. Just look at the titles of any of their games, and you know how clear they like to be.
Final Fantasy 14. How many are there?
I'm excited for what's it called? Right now, it's called Project Triangle Strategy, I think. It's by the same people who did Octopath, and it's in the same style as Octopath, but instead of being a turn-based RPG, it's still turn-based, but it's a strategy. Over the top movement grid stuff strategy game, which I'm a big fan of. So
yeah, I like those as well.
There's a free demo right now as well for those who haven't, who wanted to give it a shot.
What platform is that on? The
Switch. The Switch.
The Switch.
Yes.
Oh, it's on Switch, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
I downloaded the demo like a month ago and I haven't played it yet, but.
Okay. Nice.
Let's see. We talked about the PlayStation Play at Home initiative already. Some movie-related stuff. So, Suicide Squad trailer came out yesterday. I think it looks great. It looks like a fun time, which is what James Gunn is good at. It's just like having fun. And yeah,
I didn't see the first one, but the trailer for the new one looks awesome.
Oh my god!
I was dying. I was like, wait, what?
When Killer Shark ripped the guy in half, I was like, oh my god.
And
Yeah, and that's Sylvester Stallone voicing Killer Shark.
Oh, is it?
It is. And then Harley's always great, so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome, actually. It looks like you say, it's going to be real fun, so.
WandaVision ended within the last month, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier started a week from yesterday, so if you guys haven't caught up on that, we won't talk about spoilers or anything like that.
Thank you.
But WandaVision, I think, did very well, and it sets a nice precedence, I think, for the shows moving forward. And yeah,
I'm looking forward to watching it. I've actually blocked WandaVision as a Twitter term because I was getting dangerously close to being totally ruined by it. And I'm like, I want to watch it all, but I don't want to. I don't get bent when I get spoiled, but I do kind of like to have it be fresh, right?
Absolutely. My little brother infuriates me because he hates spoilers. He rants about them online, and then he'll post one on Facebook, and I was just like, you hate it. Like, what was it? I don't remember what it was. It had to be one of the previous Marvel movies or something, but he just screamed about something about like why this happened in the movie like a day after it came out, and I was just like, why would you say that? No, it wasn't that. It was Mandalorian.
It's not a spoiler. I'm just talking about.
No, it's just like it came out yesterday. I was like, that's right. It came out yesterday. I have 2 kids. Well, give me time to watch it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why I blocked that term, because I was like, well, I do want to watch it. I'm glad it was well received. Did you watch it yourself?
Yes.
Nice. Did you enjoy it, I guess?
Yes, I did.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. And the Winter Soldier and
Falcon and Winter Soldier, started last week. Soldier
looks really good, and
Loki comes out next.
Yep.
So it's looking good. Feige's doing a good job at keeping things, good, and while still trying to keep things in the same universe. It's crazy how much work that guy must do, like to try to keep all the dots where they need to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Snyder Cut came out I think it was this last week. I've never seen the original or the Snyder Cut, so I can't spoil anything about that, but it's just crazy how much of a big deal it was for people. And this has been a lot better, well received than I thought it would be, the Snyder Cut. I thought it's like you're going to have the same movie with a few extra scenes, and people are going to be like, but a lot of people apparently liking it.
Well, and that's it. I haven't seen the original or the new one yet, but I have a really good buddy who is a massive fan, and he was like, the original one was good. It was just that they took like 6 hours worth of content and shrunk it down to 2 hours, and so you end up taking out a lot of the plot, character development, etc. Not that it was horrible, but it was just this condensed thing. And so he was a fan of them redoing it and adding in the extra content, the extra shots that Snyder did to bring in the character development and stuff. So He said he really liked it, and so that's a thumbs up for me, because I've watched enough movies and know his opinions well enough that they jive pretty well with mine, that I'm looking forward to it, and I will probably enjoy it as well. It sounds like he was happy as a fan because he felt like the first one just too condensed, and he wanted more of the character development. So yeah, he's excited for it.
Yeah, see, that's where I kind of think I've found is that people are saying, there is more character development and stuff like that. It's like, well, in some, you could say that Snyder was given the opportunity to do that. I can't, I was a big fan of Joss Whedon, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, all that excellent. He did the first Avengers movie, which was great. But obviously with stuff that's come out recently, people are less of a personal fan of his. I don't know if you've heard all that stuff.
No.
There's been a lot of female actresses that have worked with him that have come out and kind of called him abusive in the directorial sense. So
with some sexism stuff, or
I don't know if it's sexism specific. I mean, it doesn't sound like there was anything necessarily sex related,
Gotcha.
Or if it was, I mean, I guess it would be sexism if it was only the females that were like targeted for the abuse. But just like a lot of yelling and screaming stuff that like people, couldn't get over. And though actually it wasn't just women, because this started coming out because what's his name, Ray, the guy who played Cyborg in Justice League, is the one who came out and said that he was like really abusive as a director, yelling and screaming and stuff like that. And then other people from his past were just like, yeah, I believe you. Like, nobody believed him at all. And then people started coming out. So that's really unfortunate.
For sure. That was the original director?
Right. Well, that's the one who took over for Snyder after he had to leave because his daughter, I think it was the daughter, died.
Right.
So
that's why I was calling the original. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not defending him at all, but that being said, I'm sure he was told his movie can't be longer than, a normal movie, 2.5 hours. Yep. You have to cut it down. You can't have a 4-hour movie. Nobody makes 4-hour movies. So the fact that Snyder got to do this is special, and not near the norm.
And I feel like it's a redemption arc to the fans, essentially, because guess what? If you watched the first one and didn't care, or was just like, yeah, it was okay, you don't really care if they remake it, probably.
Right.
Probably might not even go see it. But if you're a fan, even if you dislike the first one, you're going to want to see the remake. If you liked it, then you're like, well, it could be even better. I'm going to have to see it. And so it feels like it's a redemption for the fans to me.
Yeah, and apparently there was over 1 million tweets the other day about, I forget what the hashtag specifically was, but they want Snyder. It was the whole idea was he was going to kind of control DC with the movies going forward, and they want him to continue now. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But
I would love to see DC step up and make a big splash like the MCU has been over the last decade. I mean, they've got great source material. So
they just have to bring it all together, and that's where they seem to have the trouble.
Yeah. So it's a big thing.
All right, and then the last thing I had on here, which I forgot about, this is just a rumor right now, but I guess there's a rumor that PS3, PSP, and Vita, the online stores, are going to be closing, so you won't be able to purchase any of that older stuff, which for the Vita store, I think, would be a mistake, because there are actually still people making stuff for the Vita. But, and again, it's just rumor, so we don't know, but you still be able to download anything that you have bought, you just cannot purchase anything new.
Right, they're just going to stop adding things to the store.
I don't necessarily think this will happen, but if it does, my assumption would be that they have a plan to have emulators or something for new consoles going forward, so you can go back and get that content still, just only focus on the new store instead of having running 4 different stores: PS5, PS4, PS3, PS Vita, PSP. They're all different stores.
Yep. And, at that point, all I can think of is that Sony's trying to make a new Vita/Switch competitor for their new online store, right? And just kind of condense as many people into the PS5 new mobile handheld. I mean, that's totally just a random speculation with no actual evidence.
I suspect that's not the case just because of the success they've had in the past. I think the Vita is a very successful handheld, with the caveat of the big mistake they made with the memory cards. But I love my Vita. It's around here somewhere. But I always had it on me. It was always in my work bag, like, every day. And at lunch, I would play, like, up until, like, the last year or so. It was the case. Vita's a great handheld. Right. But not enough people got into it. So I don't think they'll be getting their own handheld. That being said, they don't have the 3DS problems, where they have, that to figure out, okay, if you want to bring in 3DS games, how do you do the dual screen on a Switch and stuff like that? Vita is just one screen, so they could port everything into an emulated program onto a console.
On the official new handheld that runs all the old Vita games.
I would get it. Now, don't get me wrong. I would get a new Sony handheld more than likely. But I really doubt that would happen.
To be honest with you.
I really doubt it would
my
happen.
Switch isn't really mobile.
No, especially if they tell me, okay, here's this new PlayStation handheld. It's bigger than the Switch, and it can play your downloaded PS5 games. I would be, like, in my bed, never leave, with my PS5 games right in front of me.
Wow. Yeah, but if it could play your PS5 games, it's going to have to be a beefy chunker of a machine.
Oh, yeah.
Graphics card and heat dissipation would be...
Oh, I know. But I've got the beast right here beside me, the PS5. It's But
And I watched the teardown of that. One of the PlayStation engineers doing.
Oh, yeah,
the teardown
yeah.
of that thing, and it's set up to port that heat out for sure.
Okay, well, to support it, you'll have to dock it every hour that is cooled by liquid ice.
Yeah, right. It cools off the liquid nitrogen in the loop.
All right, but that's all I had for news. Was there anything else you could think of that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that we were pretty broad ranging today. I just want to thank you for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I really do enjoy being on Twitch myself and finding folks that I enjoy. We met through that natural Twitch interaction of shared Twitch streamer bubbles, and I think that that's just amazing. That here we are now having this conversation, this Tidus talk together through that from Twitch and Twitter and all this gaming world that we all enjoy as a hobby and fun. So thank you for hosting me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day and joining me and letting us get to know you a little bit better and learn what makes Spartan tick. And definitely make sure, if you guys don't already, twitch.tv/SpartanLeonidus. It's spelled on the screen right there. It'll also be, if you're watching it on YouTube, in the description below, as well as any other, probably Twitter and any other social media stuff he has that he wants me to post. It'll be down there in the description. So if nobody has other questions on Twitch, we'll wrap it up here and say thank you everybody for watching. I don't have a guest set for next month yet. I was trying to get Spacey Invader, but we'll see if that pans out or not. Thank you everybody for watching. If you're here live on Twitch, we'll be right back. Bye everyone.
Bye.